How do you stop your children from worrying? Okay, so today I had to recalibrate worry with my child. Just a little bit of context here. My 3 and 4 year old like to hide, and so in the past, when my children or my older children would hide, I am pretty calm. Like I really don't kind of get overly stressed, and I don't really even like that word. But for some reason, when my children are hiding, I would start to kind of like hyperventilate. And it was this weird thing because my mind would go to places, what if what happened, and it was something that I knew I was doing. And I really had to kind of go into, when I had a child who basically was gone for like 20 minutes, he was hiding as a joke. And it really kind of set me off on a spiral. And then another child would do it. And so I really had to manage my mind. So I realized that when my child did it, I would start to kind of go in this weird panic, and my mind was going places. And which is interesting because I know what was sort of happening, and I couldn't for some reason get my mind to get to that place of recalibration. And I think I wasn't even seeing as something that I needed to do at one point, because it wasn't happening all the time. It was, every 6 months, it was sort of this sporadic thing. And here's the thing, my little 3 and 4 year old now is playing games. And so I think I must have kind of get frustrated with them and went into this experience of like, where are you? You cannot do that, And I noticed that my 10-year-old was actually wiring the same sort of like panic skill. Panic is not a word we use in our house, but I was noticing it. And so in the last 2 weeks, she literally would stop her schoolwork and say, Mom, where's Vivi and Aoife? Where's Vivi and Aoife? She would be in the middle of dinner, and if Vivi went to the bathroom somewhere else and she couldn't find them, and we try to keep everybody in dinner, she's like, Mom, I need to go find them. And literally like 5-10 times a day, she would say, Mom, where are they? And so I was letting her aware of her response to worry, which I felt responsible for. I knew where she was getting it. She was getting it from me. This is why I say anxiety is very contagious. And even though I don't use that word, that's what was happening with me. I don't use that word with my children. I knew that's what was happening with me. And so this morning she stopped her schoolwork, what she was doing, and she was actually getting upset with my daughter because she was hiding, or, she wasn't going outside with them. And I said, Pia, she can go outside. I mean, she's free, we're right here. Like, she's like, no, Mom, I need to watch her. And so I literally had to give her a breakdown of, and she knows this because we teach this stuff, that, Pia, I need you to understand what's happening in your brain. You are now starting to wire worry. Okay. And I need you to become aware of it so that you don't actually develop a habit of worry, which will then really inhibit you from being present in your moment. Case in point, you left your schoolwork. You couldn't be present because you're worried about your sister. Case in point, you left certain situations just because you were wanting to check on them. So I need you to understand what's happening in your brain. So I explained to her that the things we think about affect our emotion affect our body. She was starting to get body was starting to get tense up, which then doesn't allow us to become present, and inhibits our spiritual life. And so I really had to explain that to her. And she was like, no, Mom, I'm not. And I said, 15 days to wire it. You're now 2 weeks into it. You're starting to wire it into your brain. 66 days to hardwire it. I am responsible for you developing resilient skills so that you don't live a life of worry someday. And so it really made me reflect in making sure that I don't develop, that I stop being, I stop reacting when my children hide, because kids hide. I also need to teach my children to make sure that, you don't hide, so that I'm not looking for 15 minutes. I know where you are. And they hide in like closets because they think it's a fun game. So I really need to manage them. But really, I needed to recalibrate Pia. So today she wrote a script 50 times, and it's on my desk, and I can't even show with you, but of really making sure that instead of panicking and going to the state of worry, she knows how to talk to herself. There's a script. Scripting is a proactive way to be intentional about the standard we're actually trying to live. That's why it's pivotal and crucial. It doesn't matter how many boundary books we read if we actually don't have the script to hold a boundary. It doesn't matter if we know that we're supposed to be good if we actually don't know how to be kind in words. And so she literally had to say, I'm so grateful, and I'm so happy and grateful that my sisters and everyone in my family is healthy and happy. And she was resisting it, and she's like, no, Mom, that doesn't work. I said, I know, but it's scientifically proven, so it does work. But more than anything, I don't think you want to live a life of worry, do you? That's actually a training that is really important, that you actually end with a higher note, that I teach with women's school with air tonality. But I think it's important. The first thing that I really even had to really reflect is that, January, remember, you're wiring your, every single day how to show up for the world, your children. Because even though I'm aware of it, that part of my life that needs to be, managed when my children actually hide, really needed to be recalibrated. And I have to be hyper aware of my reaction so that I don't actually hand over a way of life that will not serve them. Right? Worry does not serve us. It is a doubt, is a lack of trust. Number two, also, I need to tell them what to say, how to actually have a replacement script, because I could tell them, you got to stop doing that. But remember, we don't say stop, we say stop, but this is what you can say, right? But thirdly, we need to explain to them an understanding of the mind, understanding of the body, and understanding of the wholeness and receptivity and the connection between all of that, so that they understand the why behind it. We cannot be robotic. We can't just tell them, you can't do that, you have to do this, you can't do that. They need to understand the why, because that's what sustains their capacity to actually see the deeper meaning and then sustainably change. Because we do not want to raise robots. And so that's really, I wanted to share this with you and take time to share with you, because worry has become an epidemic that causes a lot of fear that leads to doubt, and worry allows us to hinder the gift of the present moment. And excessive worry is anxiety. That's what it is. It's things that we are going, 10 steps ahead of things we're so far off we can't even control, that we live in the what if world, and we never allow ourselves to actually see the gift of the moment, because fear inhibits us to be grateful. And so I needed to wire that for my 10-year-old brain. But you can do that with your 7-year-old, your 4-year-old. Can we can absolutely, teach our children how to manage worry, but it requires us to actually become aware of how we're showing up and how worry is showing up to us and how we're communicating that. And then we need to give them the tools so that they don't live and they can cut and not wire things that are going to make them suffer in the future. And so that's what we do in the women's school. It's a very integrated formation, but I wanted to share this with you because it's an important learning. And as I go deeper into, the formation that I think is necessary for women, I think that we have to be hyper aware at every God-given moment, the opportunities and the ways in which we can form and transform our children, because it's like a vortex out there, and the world is constantly, I think, charging against our mind. It is the loneliest place to be. And if we don't give our children and ourselves tools, then we cannot give what we do not have. So it has to begin with us. So I hope that serves you. Thank you so much. January, the Women's Transformation. Be very intentional about your own growth, because you cannot give what you don't have. And we need to change the world together, beginning with our own world and then our children's world. If you like this practical life training in the Women's School, click subscribe so you can get access to more of our practical life training. Also, comment below and let us know what you think so we can hear from you. Don't forget to like this video and share it, because our vision here in the Women's School is to give you practical life training to help you become who you were created to be for such a time as this.